opinions and vice versa. So um I think that, when you are in communities, for instance, like, and on the conservative side, like, a lot of individuals who are conservative are often religious, right? So you're getting maybe some of your political info from people who you go to church with, or your pastor, or etc. And so this information again starts to quote unquote become an echo chamber, and you have these sort of psychological constructs around like compliance and conformity that we see. Is everything good? Okay. And sorry, I'm just looking at the chat really quick. Ezra's saying, can you stick to one channel? Is that like for sound purposes? Can you hear me,
I'm
Alicia?
going back to the OG. Yeah. Yeah, I'm going back to the OG where I just hear you terribly.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
No.
fine. It's just
Okay.
fine.
Okay.
Plus, these are the ones that I got for this stream. Anyways, last I heard you were talking about echo chambers, and that
Yes.
is a thing.
Yes, exactly. So I was just kind of talking about why I think conservative ideology is the way it is, and it's because they, quote unquote, have these like echo chambers that often are like religious in nature. Christian nationalism is like a huge thing in the United States. I don't think you don't really see it in a lot of other like Western countries. I would say it's like very much a thing here. Um, and those spaces obviously have very specific rhetoric, which is like you think about the Erica Kirks of the world talking about demonic things, and it's very, very specific language that is being used.
So I heard none of that. So this is no longer a solution. Fuck. I don't know what to do. Fifth pair of headphones?
Let's try it. I feel
Why
like
not? You know what? Why not?
this
This is the way that I solved it on. Okay, yeah. You know what? Let's use the fiance's
pair number
headphones.
5. Anyway, so if the chat has any interesting takes on this, if they want to talk about like if you grew up in a certain environment and you had certain opinions and then you moved to a different environment and gained other opinions, love to hear about that. How, for instance, you think your opinions are shaped by the people around you, or how do you feel about the term echo chamber and who uses the term echo chamber? um, I'd love to hear what you guys have to say because my co-host is struggling. Strugs to funk, as they say.
Nope.
Hi, baby. Do you want to come up for stream? You want to come say hi to all the viewers? Oh, she said, I'm suddenly being very shy. Ezra said, maybe the headphones are not the problem.
I can handle this. I'm an adult woman with a PhD. I can handle this.
Is that PhD in IT, information technology? Oh, we're gonna show one cat on stream. We're gonna do a display.
I genuinely don't know what to do.
Hey, baby boy. This is Ollie. He is our most recent addition to the family. You wanna come say hi?
Now I can't hear anything.
He's 5 months. He's getting neutered tomorrow, so he does not know, obviously. We're very excited for it. Yes, Stinky Minky. Hi. Oh. Are you gonna don't she does not want to be picked up. She said, get me out of here. So Sean, my husband, is trying to grab one of the other 2 cats and bring her over, but nobody wants to be picked up.
I tried turning the blue off and then turning it on again. See if that old trick.
It's good. Is it work? Are things working?
Yeah, but I've thought that before, and then you'll launch into what is no doubt a beautiful diatribe that I'm missing, and then I'll be, like, nodding along like, "Yeah," and then you'll be like and I can tell that you've stopped talking because your mouth isn't moving anymore, and that's the only clue. "Yes, I tried your wired ones, Dan." Okay, well, this appears to be working, not to jinx it, but
Mhm.
we'll just,
We'll
assume that
see.
the
We'll see how it goes.
we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it
Mhm.
goes.
We'll see
Yeah.
how it goes. We shall see how
It's
it
going
goes.
terribly, immediately
Oh!
going terribly. I'm gonna launch myself into space! I genuinely don't know what to do.
Are the
I
speaker are the speakers attached to your they're like coming out of your monitor essentially because it's your or are they like a separate pair of speakers that like disconnect from your PC?
I have both. What's what your kids see, and I heard that fine, but as soon as, like, it's like an extended I don't know. I don't know what the issue is. I genuinely don't. Um, and I don't know how to fix it.
Well, I was gonna say maybe just move your speakers very far from your microphone, and then you could try to do it.
I'll just kick back. I'll just I'll kick back,
There are. Can you hear
I
me?
guess.
If I tell the alphabet to you, you have to tell me how
Can't
many
tell what you're
letters.
saying, so this is great.
Okay.
Fuck, fuck, fuckity fuck. What do I do? What do I do? What do I do?
I think the best solution is to
We're
just use
turning
the
that off. We're gonna go
yeah
through the speakers.
external.
We're gonna go
Yeah.
through the speakers.
Yeah.
Turn off the Bluetooth. Turn off the Bluetooth. Bluetooth. Bluetooth.
Okay. You can hear me?
Yep.
Okay, yeah. So
Can
I
you
was
hear
just
yourself?
no. Yeah, so just keep the microphone as far away from the speakers as possible is my suggestion.
Alrighty. I'm back here now. Can't see my notes because 'cause I'm blind because 'cause I'm
It's
old.
giving boomers do tech as always. Okay. Can't see my
It's
notes
great.
because I'm
It's great.
old.
I
Yeah.
can't. I'll
Anyways.
make them bigger though. I know how to do that.
Mhm.
Yeah, there we go. They're nice and big.
Mhm. Just enlarge the font size to like 40. Um yeah, and I think so I was okay. My cats are losing their absolute minds. But anyways, so I think that like we also all we have schemas, right? Like we get an idea of what we think the world is like based on like our world experience, and we want to know how information fits into these schemas, and information that we readily believe fits into these schemas, confirms what we think we know. So confirmation bias is also an issue in like when it comes to like political information, right?
Yes, confirmation bias. There everything's going spectacularly. I turned your volume down so that it because now there's a delay. I don't know what's happening, but I think the confirmation bias probably comes a little bit from, like, the in-group, out-group the thing that I was mentioning before, and, like, the
Yeah,
idea of
that it's like an identity, right? It's not just an ideology anymore.
yeah. Well, and there's,
Hmm.
like, this notion of punditry in
Yeah.
politics now where I guess it started in Reagan era politics where
Hmm.
there was changes to, like, FCC regulations about, like, neutrality from news sources, and as that kind of decreased, the mandate and, like, the legal obligation to be an unbiased source if you were news. Like you could have opinion pieces, but they would have to be labeled as opinion pieces, which I think you can still do, but you don't have to. And as that continued and then meshed with the social media kind of era of things, then you get people, frankly, like us, that are sitting here and speaking about politics from I'm gonna say that I come from a very biased kind of perspective. I'm
Hmm.
extremely left snowflake, whatever, woke, whatever you wanna call it. I think that you would probably land in that camp too, and I think on the one hand, that's really great because people are engaging in politics, but you
Mhm.
also get people that are potentially woefully uninformed about the thing that they're having a very intense and salient kind of feeling about, which comes to the data that suggests that the intensification and the like you were talking about before, rage baiting and just turning up of the kind of, like, emotional volume of things in
Mhm.
order to drive engagement has turned up the emotional volume on things in reality once we disengage from whatever media source we're consuming at that time. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, yeah, I think the fact that a fair amount of people get their news information from social media like definitely amplifies the effects of this, which is something that, again, like a cultural shift from Canada to the US. Canada tried to put regulations on I think it was Meta specifically. It was like Instagram, Facebook, and around how they
They
presented.
successfully did. They didn't just try to.
Well, they want well they essentially wanted them to, like, I think it was like have a tag or sort of have some sort of a label associated with news information, but I think Meta decided it was like too much work, or it was like they didn't want to like follow these guidelines, so they just completely pulled all news information out of
Yeah.
social media in Canada. And I think there was another country as well. It was not just Canada. I think it was maybe the UK or something like that.
Australia, I believe, tried to,
Mhm.
do it, and they did it slightly better, and I think the part that made that not work, I think, was because the government wasn't doing that for the good of its citizens, it was doing it for the benefit of the very few, comms companies in Canada because 'cause they're dying, right? Like,
Okay, so it was trying to essentially prop up like hard news businesses and
right, so they were it's a huge lobby in Canada, like, insofar as we have lobbies, which we don't in the same way
mm,
that America does, but basically they were kind of like, leaning on, the Canadian government to do something about the fact that they're bleeding from the ears and are basically gonna go down, and they're saying like, "Okay, this is where you do your speeches is on Global News or on whatever, CBC or whatever channel it is, and if you want us to continue hosting this in an unbiased way, if you want us to, continue to host it at all, then you need to make it so that it's worth it for us because no one wants to advertise for us because our viewership is down because everyone's viewing stuff through Instagram. So everybody makes all of their stupid little apps. So there's an app for literally everything.
yeah.
And if you want to get news from that source, you have to go to that app. Whereas having a centralized source, of course, for, the overburdened brains that we have these days is taking out one cognitive step makes it a lot easier, and I think
Mhm.
that's how they got there.
Yeah, I
But
definitely I would like to think that it was like them trying to combat misinformation, but you're absolutely right. Like I do think it was more of an like an economic choice. But like I do think in some ways it did
yeah,
help combat misinformation because it was like people like if you can't it kind of divided what was considered news and what was considered like not a news source essentially.
yeah,
And so you, like trying to put external links to anything that was not considered a news source was like was permitted, and you obviously couldn't do that um, with like the New York Times or anything like that. You said something
yeah.
that register.
I read a piece of data about labeling things fake news that was saying, like, it's effective to, like, put a label of, like, a correction or something like you see
Mm-hmm.
on some social medias. It's effective for, like, the immediate after seeing it,
Yeah.
but that people will still remember it as though it's true, and it was, like, a smaller study, and I can't remember the exact parameters, so take this with a large grain of salt, but it was something to the effect of these flags that say, like, "Hey, this was, found to be an AI image kind of thing when they're like, a
Mm-hmm.
picture of someone, licking a donut or whatever. I think that actually happened. That was Ariana Grande, but whatever. Um, anyways, when they put that immediately after, when they test the people for like labeling which one of these was true, which one of these was false,
Mm-hmm.
it works. But down the line, it's not effective. That they'll
Yeah.
still remember things that were explicitly labeled as false.